Hey, hello everyone. So it's a very different kind of a video. This time it's a live video because I don't want to go through the entire process of recording, uploading, etc. It's just a spontaneous thought I had. So yesterday we had the finals of the US Open tennis tournament, which is one of the big four tennis tournaments in the world, and the youngest ever US Open champion, I guess, after Pete Sampras, but has won it, Carlos Alcaraz. I was there to watch the winning moments. Although I didn't watch the full match, I just woke up for a bathroom break and happened to catch the last set in action and just waited for it to get over. Now, I'll just tell you a little bit of a build up and why am I uploading it to the Code Wizards channel. Also, will come so it'll unravel as we go along. So, Carlos Alcaraz is an incredible fellow. He burst out into the tennis scene about last year. Actually, he was always talked about, just like so many other tennis players like Yannick Sinner, etc. But last year was particularly what is significant for Alcaraz because he beat the top two. I mean, yeah, both Djokovic and Nadal in a single tournament, if I remember correctly, and also a lot many others. Tsitsipas, this, that. So he was just beating people all over the place, and people said, "Okay, we have the next big three candidate, or the big one." And because the next gen tennis champions are really not living up to it, they've hardly won one or two slams. That's all. One by Medvedev, one by Dominic Thiem. So finally, people had started talking about Alcaraz as the rightful heir to the legacy of the three legends, Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer. But then it started going downhill from there. So everybody was excited that he will probably take the French Open, but then he lost, and then Wimbledon also he struggled, but he lost. So and then even in the middle, he kept losing a few tournaments here and there. I mean, it was not like he was dominating the win. Nadal dominated when he came onto the scene. Nadal, when he came onto the scene, it was like Nadal. Almost, if I remember correctly. I mean, please correct the tennis historians can correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as I remember, once Nadal started winning, he didn't stop winning. I mean, he was just on a trail. I mean, he was only on loggerheads with Federer was the only guy who could stop him. But that's really not the case for Alcaraz because he won two big tournaments and suddenly it was all downhill from there. He was hardly winning anything from there. So that was the context. Not only that, the stranglehold of the big three on the Grand Slam tournaments has been. I mean, that's probably something that has never happened in any sport ever. I mean, just imagine Manchester United winning for 25 years. That's the kind of domination. Just imagine a PV Sindhu, not PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal, and maybe some what is that, Carolina Marin. Three of them not giving up the gold medals for 15, 20 years. Or maybe three swimming champions, Ian Thorpe. What is that? No, what is that? Not Ian Thorpe. What is that guy? We call him the torpedo, right? The swimming. Him and then what is the other guy? The big one. Okay, I'm forgetting the names, but something like this has never happened in tennis, where two or three players have dominated so the big tournaments so much. Never ever happened before. It's just a historic moment for entire sport, not just tennis. And in this context comes up our dear little young fellow, just coming out of his wearing shorts and having fun days, Carlos Alcaraz, and he enters the US Open with the context of having been a very expected to win guy earlier. To who don't know where this guy is going. I mean, sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses. And now Carlos Alcaraz starts the tournament. He wins a few easy matches, and then suddenly, bam, he hits a brick wall. 1 5 setter. I mean, a 5 setter is a very big deal in tennis. I mean, you play sets of individual tennis in a tournament, and you will know what it means. So Carlos played. I guess he played two tough 5 setters. With the one with Yannick Sinner lasted about 5 hours. It's like the second longest match in the history of tennis. And after playing a match like that, I would. I mean, I can't even think of playing. I play tennis, but I can't think of lasting more than half an hour with that, 15 minutes with that intensity on court. But Alcaraz and both Sinner. I mean, full credit to Yannick Sinner also that he lasted on court with that kind of intensity. Okay, long story short, so with all of this exhaustion and all of this burden of expectation, with five people of his own also sitting in the box, he comes up in the final, wins the first set, loses the second, wins the third, and now it's all down to the fourth one, where if Alcaraz wins, he wins the tournament, makes a lot of history, redeems himself as the claimant to the title of the next gen player. So here he is. He's able to do something called a break of serve. I mean, in tennis, holding serve for professionals, it's easier. Means you serve and the game is yours. I mean, that game, the one in which you're serving, that's easier to win than the one in which the other opponent is serving, because the serves are so good. It's hard, it's very difficult to actually break something that we call that. That's why they have a special name for it. That's called breaking of serve. He was able to break the serve. Now all he had to do is hold on. He was able to hold on. Able to hold on. Now comes the score 5-3. 5 Alcaraz, 3 winner. If it is 6-3, bam, done. History made. Alcaraz plays the first point. He loses the first point. Second point he wins. Third point he wins. Then his third point he wins is now down to three match points. What is the match point? Match point is the one which will give you the match. But in this case, it will not only give him the match, it will also give him the championship. It will also give him history. Okay, historic win. Now, what would Alcaraz be thinking at the moment? Yes, I finally made it. I'm going to win this tournament and I'm going to make history. I'm also going to wash off all the doubts that people had on me after I burst into the scene. So finally, Carlos Alcaraz, and he's probably looking at his team. How are we going to party and what are we going to talk about? And he's probably imagining all the interesting and all the news shows that he's going to be invited to, all the big endorsements that he's going to get, the $1 million prize money that he's going to get, what he's going to do. All these thoughts could have flashed in front of him. Imagine you are an underperforming school-going kid all your life. Suddenly, you are writing you're writing your board exam, and you've realized you've prepared brilliantly well, and finally this guy who nobody knew might turn out to be a topper, or maybe not maybe not somebody who nobody knows, but somebody who's been expected to win or expected to top the exams but could never top, is finally going to top the exam because you've prepared so brilliantly well in your mind while writing the exam. It is, you might be getting tempted to think, I'm going to get a very big recognition award. My parents are going to be so happy, yes, getting so excited. I'm going to go for a vacation to a foreign country, and my parents will allow for that. This, that, whatnot. I'm going to get my best prize ever. Like I want a really cool TT bat. I want a tennis racket, or I want the next the latest PlayStation, and the best games. And my parents are going to give it. Wow, so much excitement building up. Except that in an exam, you have a lot of time to think and come back. In a tennis match, if you make a single mistake, right? If you give, you're closing the door on victory. But if you're doing it a bit slowly, you allow your opponent to put a toe in the door, it'll get stopped. That toe will become a foot. That foot will become a leg. I mean, that foot will become a whole body, and the opponent will break into your zone. In tennis, all of this Carlos Alcaraz didn't have the luxury to think, because 1 point can become two, two can become three, and three can then burst out into a wave of points against you. Once the opponent gets confidence and once he gets into a rhythm, then gone. Even if you are close to this much close to history, even if you're this much close to all the dreams that you have seen from childhood, because the first Grand Slam means so much confidence that you'll start that's the reason why the big three also keep winning. The big three tennis players is because once they have the confidence that they won so many tournaments, there's some kind of a lazy arrogance that sets in, and that gives them mental peace, and they can fight back even on the last point. Fortunately, he didn't have those terrifying players who can take the match back from match point, like Nadal and Federer and even Djokovic. They can all do that because in their mind they are so calm and peaceful that they can take even if you give them an inch, they will make it a foot. From the foot, they'll make it a meter, and then they'll pull the whole victory back in. Okay, the whole yeah. So yeah, coming back to the point, Alcaraz could have had millions of thoughts flashing through. I mean, your mind is really, millions is probably a very high number, but at least hundreds, if not thousands, of thoughts going through. What will happen if I win? Which big interviewer is going to interview me? On which channels am I going to go watch? What big endorsements am I going to get? Because there's history in the making. I'm making history right now. I mean, if imagine you are in the moment and you know you're going to make history, except that history is not yet made. You still have to win that one single last point. And if you don't put all your focus and attention and forget about the rest of the world, forget about what will happen in the future, forget about what will happen in the past. There's a horse, right? Yeah, I mean, the horses have this thing tied to their eyes. It's cruel, but what is the purpose of this is very similar to what Alcaraz was supposed to do, is just to focus in front, not look here and there. Focus in front on the job at hand. And I'm sure Carlos Alcaraz would have had that psychological training given to him, probably by a psychologist, probably by a life coach, probably by his own coach, who's that? Why am I forgetting so many names? Yeah, Juan Carlos Ferrero, who's also a champion, who has been in those shoes. So he must have trained him for the situation. No matter what happens, no, you don't celebrate even in your mind until the last point is won. And the moment he hit that last, he won that last point, he collapsed because he had the whole all of those thoughts and emotions were held up in a dam, and that dam finally could collapse. He had given himself the permission, and he could not stand for a minute because the flooding of emotion, the flooding of the way he had held everything up, dammed up inside. I mean, now he was just totally relaxed. Point I'm trying to make is sometimes in life and in programming, all you have to do is focus on the next point. Okay, there are times when you actually have to let your mind wander around, think forward, think back. What will happen if I do this? What will happen if I do that? But there are times when you know what I am doing right now, this moment that I am am in, that is the moment I have to win. Okay, it came out as a rhyme. The moment I am in, that is the one I have to win. Okay, it just, I mean, just a spontaneous thought. Remember this: the moment I am in, that is the one I have to win. Not every moment is like that. Not every moment in Alcaraz's match was the one in which he had to put all his energy and focus and attention into that particular moment. You cannot do that. It takes incredible amount of energy to block out the future, the past, and just focus 100% attention on the present. So you have to ration that kind of attention. You have ration, you understand? Matlab, you have just this much power to focus. And power to focus is not something infinite that you will, I mean, I will probably make a video about the work of Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, who have written a very interesting book called Thinking Fast and Slow. So probably it's a very big volume. So I recommend any kids to read it. But definitely, I will probably make a video about this so that you can ration your own attention. Attention is like a limited amount of chocolates you have. So you have to give the chocolates to only the people you love. So give your attention when you focus. Give it only to the areas where you want to, where you really want to. And that moment where Carlos Alcaraz was 40-30 match point championship, set point, match point. Sorry, it's like this. Let me go in the correct hierarchy: game point, set point, match point, championship point. I would add one more: history point. So that was a history point. He was about to make history, and history has been made. But because he said, this is the moment I have to focus on, I have to fix this right now, I have to fix this bug right now. If I focus on the rest of the code, if I focus on why I wrote it so badly, what is the use of all my attention? I have to give my chocolate to the one I love. What will I do giving a chocolate to the one who's not going to get me anything, who does not love me back? Regretting why you wrote the code or regretting why you did something in life the way you did is giving the chocolate to a person who's not going to give you anything back. No love, no affection. Don't give your attention to or energies to your past, which is only going to be used to curse yourself. Past for mistakes is fine. You learned something, you did something wrong, and now you're trying to learn. But at this point, when you're trying to write your own game, your own program, at that point, your whatever you have on your plate, why is this character not able to jump? That is the only thing you have to focus about. Not why what will I do. So lots of things will happen. Like if I do the jumping character thing, properly, then something else is also there that is pending. Then the monster is also by free, instead of fire, it's breathing out bananas. Something may happen which is already pulling your attention. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Hey programmer, hey, listen to me, this bug is there, that bug is there, this side. When you program, it's you're living in an open world. There is nothing to stop you, right? You have imaginations, then you have concerns that this is not working properly, that is not working properly. Maybe the logic that I made there will go wrong somewhere. But point is, whatever you're doing right now, either you're writing a feature or writing fixing a bug, at that given point of time, if you don't focus your 100% attention on that bug or that feature will never get made properly. And then again you will be, you'll start going in a loop later of why I wrote that bad. Carlos Alcaraz, if he thought about the future of celebration, of celebration and of and he thought about 100 things that will come after his victory, probably he would have a future in which he would regret having thought of all that and not having focused on the work at hand. So, life lesson number one, tennis gives me so many life lessons, like never give up until the last point, because the wave can change like this. Once you start taking 2 3 points, the 2 3 points can become 5 6 7, and it can become a flood. The same thing that happened to you when you were going down can happen to the opponent, and now he or she can start going down. So I'm giving away a lot of my trade secrets of playing tennis here also. So if my friends are watching, you know my mindset now. You can read it, and I'm that cockroach. You can dip in water. You can throw in a radioactive station or whatever. But I will try my best not to die. That's cockroach is my hero, not the spider. Spider Man is there, but man is not something anybody has ever even thought of. But cockroach is my hero, the survivor. It never dies, never say die attitude. See, so things that you love. I'm not saying do it for anything. I mean, studies is boring. It's very hard to have a never say die attitude about studies. But the things that you love coding, right? Don't give up easily. Don't give up easily, and show the world that you are. Show yourself that you can do it. Remember my poem. Forget the jack. Remember the jack and forget what you like. Put all your effort into lifting a bit and do it so that it will stick. So that it does not get reversed. Whatever you have lifted will not go down. And that is the way to defeat the impossible and say to yourself, I am possible. I am possible. It's not impossible. I am possible. I'll make it possible. How? I'll break it down, and I will, like a horse, I will just focus on that particular problem at that particular point of time. For me, the rest of the stuff is unimportant. What will happen, like suppose in the truck analogy, what will happen if I lift the truck? Where will I get the wheel from? What will happen? This, that. What if I will get late for wherever I was going to? Right now my only focus is to push the lever so that the jack goes up this bit. Tuck 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 tuck, the truck is up, you do it, and then you focus on changing the tire, then you focus on what the rest. Not all situations of life are such that you can only focus on the present, but there are times that you have to use your brain, and this is something that I will leave you to decide when to focus on the present and when not to focus on the present. Because there are some situations in which you have to let your mind wander, because your mind will go and fish up some, do some fishing. Oh, there is a possible danger later if I don't do this right now. So you have to also let your mind wander around. So if those people who say just focus on the present, I think that's also not correct. So we'll see. I mean, even let's evolve together and see when to focus on the present, when not to focus on the present, when to let your mind wander, when not to let you wander. But all I'm saying is there are times when, and in programming that is very true, that you have to, once you have sorted out the kind of overall map of how things will work, then when you get down to business, that is the only thing you have to do. Just like Carlos Alcaraz focused only on the point that he had to win. He won the US Open Championships, he made history, and now everyone will remember him forever, no matter what happens from him. So you have to be a Carlos Alcaraz. He was just 19 years old. So even if you're 13, 14, 15, I think he's not too much elder than you, so as to think of him as someone else, as some adult. He's a kid, he's a small guy. He's about 20 years younger than me. But I salute him for the kind of focus, even if he's got the coaching from his coach. But to follow it out, watching like 10,000 people watching him in the stadium late in the night, tired from so many matches, he is the hero for me. Even though he's got the coaching and the gyan and everything from his coach, he is definitely the he is the hero for me. Even though he's got the coaching and the gyan and everything from his coach, he is definitely the hero. You become the hero of your life. Decide the times when you have to focus, and then when you focus on fixing your game, building your game, on doing anything that you like, just focus on it, block out all the noise, and you will be your Carlos Alcaraz for your life. Thanks for watching this little different kind of a video, and I'll be back very soon putting out regular videos. And yeah, that's it. Adios, amigos.